Alasdair, the world GDP is approximately $100 trillion. That's goods and services sold throughout the world, $100 trillion, and the world debt is over $300 trillion. By our observations, and we're no mathematicians here, but by our observations, no amount of taxation or borrowing will ever reduce these numbers. Alasdair, are we moving towards a black hole, and can owning gold and silver help those who see the light?
I think the first thing we have to understand is that all debt is not bad. If the debt is used productively, then that is good. It's just if it is wasted and is not productive and therefore cannot be repaid, then that's when you've got the problem. And that is now the situation in most major economies today. So you are right that to have debt 3 times GDP is not good. And it's not good principally because the bulk of it is not being deployed productively. It is being used for 2 other purposes. One is to support consumption, which basically drives up consumer prices. And it's also being used to inflate assets, which give a feel-good factor when your shares go up and and suddenly you've got more wealth and your house values go up. You think this is great stuff. But it's all false. And eventually, those 2 purposes, which are non-productive, come back to bite you. And that inevitably is bound to happen. And if you think about it, ever since we came off the Bretton Woods Agreement back in 1971, the level of outstanding debt, which, remember, is not attached to anything in terms of guaranteeing its value, has increased and increased and increased. And that increase has accelerated over that time gently. And we're now in a position where it is accelerating noticeably faster and raising questions in everybody's mind as to whether they should really own this debt in the form, for example, of government bonds or corporate bonds, or to have it in a slightly different way, invested in companies which are leveraged and can no longer afford the rising cost of debt because bond yields are rising. These questions, I think, are going to be increasingly asked. So the only way out of it, really, is to get out of credit and get into real money, as I always say. And I think the statement is getting a bit of traction now. I just want people to understand why that is what you should do. So I think, Brian, you're absolutely right to raise the question as to how much debt there is there relative to GDP. But I would say that the answer to that has to incorporate how that debt is used. And that debt is used, the bulk of it is used unproductively. And that's the key thing to understand about that debt to GDP relationship.
Bring on the gold standard there. Yeah, the whole system needs some help at the moment, doesn't it? It certainly does. Yeah.